All right, just trying to make sure stuff's working now. Can you hear anything there? All right, just trying to make sure stuff's working now. Okay, we're going to restart this now. Man, you guys just trying to make sure stuff's working now. Okay. All right, get an echo there. All right, so that's working now. All right, so hang on a second. Let's try this again, and then we'll be ready.
That are taking place. Some Palestinians are being charged up to $2,000.
I'm not going to South Africa for the G20 because I think their policies on the extermination of people are unacceptable. So I'm not going. So I won't refer to anything having to do with South Africa. South Africa has behaved extremely badly. But
to pursue the agenda of white supremacy.
You think Trump is pursuing a white supremacist agenda?
Yes, I think so.
Sunrise over DC, coffee in my hand. Saw the headlines from a faraway land. South Africa's politicos
running their mouth again about America and me. Where does it all end? Near about a whole year of the same old tune.
name calling in tall tales beneath the African moon. Oh, it's more trash in the USA. I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare, pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough,
patience wearing thin.
gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin? They talk about freedom and justice for all, while their own people are answering a different call.
Farmers on their homesteads,
living in fear and dread.
minority voices silenced, words left unsaid.
Promises like tumbleweeds blowing in the breeze, while their leaders keep on preaching,
bringing us to our knees. Oh, it's more trash in the USA. I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare, pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough,
patience wearing thin.
gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin?
I try to stay quiet,
Let it roll right on by,
but a man can only take so much beneath God's sky. That's the honest truth.
when you see folks suffering, it just ain't right.
Gonna set the record straight with all of my might. Oh, it's more trash in the USA. I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare, pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough,
Patience wearing thin.
gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin?
Yeah, more trash in the USA.
But the truth will find its way.
Pretoria, listen up to what I gotta say. God bless America, come what may.
Come what may.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Folks, welcome back. Let me just double check to make sure the sound is good here. Okay. Sure the sound is okay. Well, first, I want to thank you all very much, those who were patient through all of this last 45 minutes. And I also want to thank, apologize profusely for the tardiness. This is already two things that I've screwed up today that I didn't screw up, that Microsoft did. So for those of you who don't know me and don't understand me, those who do know me and understand me, appreciate that I don't like to let people down. I don't like to miss appointments. I don't like to be late. I take it very personally when I keep people waiting. Your life is important. Your time is important. This morning I missed an interview because of a total cock up and confusion and my computer, all of it combined, and now this. So yeah, I'm very sorry about the tardiness. It's very frustrating. I have told Micro shit not to update my operating system, but they do it all the time. And if I had a chance, I would go out and beat the living crap out of Bill Gates and his garbage. I'm so sick of it. I'm tired of being their experiment for the past 45 years with their shit operating systems. Anyway, so I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you, Alan, or Alabala, for your membership for 5 months. I'm very sorry. And I'll do my best to give you a good quality news. The analysis won't be hard because I've read the news, I've analyzed it already, most of it, and so that's going to be easy. But the sequence, I was trying to have a good program that went well. So anyway, but thank you all for that. Yeah, they're trying to force me to go Windows 11. You're correct, Charles. That's what it is. They keep putting updates on that I'm told not to put, and then they screw up my system. Yeah, so for the moment, it looks like it's okay. But the problem is it does this and it damages my external drives. I've had to repair my external drive twice now because of this crap. Yeah, no, I don't want Linux. Yeah. An operating system that does what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants. Yeah, well, you're right. That's a problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get to it. Thank you for the 475 people that are currently here. Please hit the like button. Please don't disappear on me in 10 minutes to go watch some other content creator. It's not my fault that I got here late. I was on time. Yeah. I have Windows 11 on my laptop, and I'm not impressed by it at all. All right, well, let me just get the news up, and we're going to start with that rather than, okay, where the heck is it at now? I opened all these things up. There it is. Okay. So the first thing I've got to tell you is the United States Secretary of State came down with a statement last night, which was posted on the State Department's Substack account, and it is blistering. It is blistering. I will read the statement in its entirety in just a moment. You can watch my video, which has been clearly hidden by YouTube because almost nobody's watched it. So it's just really disappointing how that stuff keeps happening. You know, it's beyond my control, but that doesn't make it any better. You know, a lot of times I check things before I go live, and I didn't check my camera because I haven't had a problem with the camera, so... All right, but here, the United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the United States will exclude South Africa from the G20. And Mad Max, and what's this now? Okay. I probably have what you're sending me. Okay, why are you not opening? Okay. Yeah, I'll read that. And so I just did a short on that, but I'm going to, come on. What the hell? Come on. I got so many tabs open. There we go. All right, so I'm going to, okay. Yeah, and I think you read a Substack because they got the word from me. Thank you for that, Max. Thank you for the clouds gathering. All right, so now I can finally get to the news. After all of that, let's get to the news for the 492 people currently here. My apologies again for the software problems, but we're back now. All right, so the U.S. will exclude South Africa from G20 and will welcome Poland into the fold, says Marco Rubio. Yep, U.S. Secretary of State Marco has confirmed the United States intends to banish South Africa from the G20 and welcome Poland into the forum, grouping the world's largest economies. U.S. will be forging ahead. Poland, yep, that's right. Marco Rubio, devastating statement. I have that statement right here. And this is the statement from December 3rd, 2025. America welcomes a new G20. And rather than have you sit there and stare at that screen, I'm going to read it and you'll be able to hang with me. I'm going to read the statement in its entirety. The author is United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Next year, the United States will host the world's 20 largest economies for the first time since 2009. Coinciding with America's 250th anniversary, the 2026 G20 will be a chance to recognize the values of innovation, entrepreneurship, and perseverance that made America great and which provide a roadmap to prosperity for the entire world. We'll showcase these values and more when we host the G20 Leaders Summit in December 2026 in one of America's greatest cities, Miami, Florida. Under President Trump's leadership, the G20 will use 4 working groups to achieve progress on 3 key themes: removing regulatory burdens, unlocking affordable and secure energy supply chains, and pioneering new technologies and innovation. The first Sherpa and Finance track meetings will be held in Washington, D.C. on December 15th and 16th, followed by a series of meetings throughout 2026. As the global economy confronts the changes driven by technologies such as artificial intelligence and shakes off ideological preoccupations around green energy, the president is prepared to lead the way. We will be inviting friends, neighbors, and partners to the American G20. We will welcome the world's largest economies, as well as burgeoning partners and allies, to America's table. In particular, Poland, a nation that was once trapped behind the Iron Curtain, but now ranks among the world's 20 largest economies, will be joining us to assume its rightful place in the G20. Poland's success is proof that a focus on the future is a better path than one on grievances. It shows how partnership with the United States and American companies can promote mutual prosperity and growth. The contrast with South Africa, host of this year's G20, is stark. South Africa entered the post-Cold War era with strong institutions, excellent infrastructure, and global goodwill. It possessed many of the world's most valuable resources, some of the best agricultural land on the planet, and was located around one of the world's key trading routes. And in Nelson Mandela, South Africa had a leader who understood that reconciliation and private sector-driven economic growth were the only path to a nation where every citizen could prosper. Sadly, Mandela's successors have replaced reconciliation with redistributionist policies that discouraged investment and drove South Africa's most talented citizens abroad. Racial quotas have crippled the private sector, while corruption bankrupts the state. The numbers speak for themselves. South Africa's economy has stagnated under its burdensome regulatory regime driven by racial grievance, and it falls firmly outside the group of the 20 largest industrialized economies. Rather than take responsibility for its failings, the radical African National Congress-led South African government has sought to scapegoat its own citizens and the United States. As President Trump has rightly highlighted, South Africa's government's appetite for racism and tolerance for violence against its Afrikaner citizens have become embedded as core domestic policies. It seems intent on enriching itself while the country's economy limps along, all while South Africans are subject to violence, discrimination, and land confiscation without compensation. Its former ambassador to the United States was openly hostile to America. Its relationships with Iran, its entertainment of Hamas sympathizers, and cozying to America's greatest adversaries move it from the family of nations we once called close. The politics of grievance carried over to South Africa's presidency of the G20 this month, which was an exercise in spite, division, and radical agendas that have nothing to do with economic growth. South Africa focused on climate change, diversity and inclusion, and aid dependency as central tenets of its working groups. It routinely ignored U.S. objections to consensus communiques and statements. It blocked the U.S. and other countries' inputs into negotiations. It actively ignored our reasonable faith efforts to negotiate. It doxed U.S. officials working on these negotiations. It fundamentally tarnished the G20's reputation. For these reasons, President Trump of the United States will not be extending an invitation to the South African government to participate in the G20 during our presidency. There is a place for good faith disagreement, but not dishonesty or sabotage. The United States supports the people of South Africa, but not its radical ANC-led government, and will not tolerate its continued behavior. When South Africa decides it has made the tough decisions needed to fix its broken system and is ready to rejoin the family of prosperous and free nations, the United States will have a seat for it at our table. Until then, America will be forging ahead with a new G20. 72nd Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the 3rd of December, 2025. Whoa! Wow. Wow. Blixen. Somebody just got moored. Schambach. My goodness. PK. My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a knockdown of epic proportions. That is in the doghouse. Marco Rubio. Yep. Wow. To which now Durko has responded, and I talked about this in a short that I did a little while ago that was published just before I went live with this mess of a broadcast that got all screwed up. So this is Ronnie Lamola now condescending towards Marco Rubio. So I'm going to read that to you in just a moment here. Let me just get it up so you can see it. So this is what it looks like on the Durko site. Oh, that's in the way. Hang on a second. There we go. There you go. In response to Secretary Rubio's Substack post. So this is what he had to say, and I'm going to comment. I have not read this in this format. I saw it posted in the news. Secretary Rubio, I have read your Substack post from the 3 December 2025. From the outset, let me extend congratulations to the United States on assuming the G20 presidency. We offer our sincere wishes for a successful term and one that we hope will serve the cause of global unity and inclusive progress. Well, that was all good till he got global unity and inclusive progress in there. That's not the role of the G20. Your words, however, compel me to speak. Of course he's going to speak. He can't keep his mouth shut. Not merely as a representative of the government, but as a voice from a nation whose very existence is a testament to a profound truth that the deepest divides can be bridged, not through dictation, but through dialogue, not through power alone, but through unwavering principle, not through unilateral action, but global solidarity. No, you ignore your citizens. Don't try to sit here and preach to us on the nature of true leadership. And now he's going to be condescending. South Africa is a founding member of the G20. No single member of the G20 has a unilateral right to exclude South Africa from G20. That's correct. But as you like to say, Ronnie Lamola, South Africa is a sovereign nation. And so is the United States. And if the United States chooses not to issue visas to your participants, then de facto, you're not able to come. He says, you draw a contrast in our approach as G20 leadership. Let us discuss that contrast honestly, guided by the wisdom that today's adversary can indeed be tomorrow's partner in peace. South Africa's presidency was built on the simple, powerful belief that treating Africa and the global South as equal partners and honestly addressing the systemic macroeconomic issues that impede their growth is not an act of charity, but a strategic imperative for the stable, prosperous world. We reaffirm multilateralism and the United Nations because our own liberation was won not in isolation, but through the solidarity of a global community that recognizes a shared stake in justice. These people are delusional. The world didn't end apartheid. The collapse of the Soviet Union ended apartheid. We understand in our bones that the world is an interconnected whole. The poverty, instability, and environmental distress in one corner of it does not remain there. It becomes a burden or a crisis for all. Yes, I'm well aware of that. That's why we've got 606,000 Venezuelans, and why we've got 2.4 million fraudulent asylum seekers, and why we've got 30 million criminal alien invaders who have invaded our shores. Well, we're well aware of that, Ronnie. You don't need to preach to us. But the answer is not a begging bowl, and it's also not the role of the G20. The success of our G20 presidency was a result of the conducive environment for the free flow of ideas that South Africa has created. That's a lie. As Rubio stated, when we went to these meetings, you ignored our suggestions and shut us down, as well as other members of the G20. The people of South Africa created a hospitable environment for the true spirit of Ubuntu, which led to South African G20 being a people's G20, and many delegations attested this in their public comments. It's not the purpose of the G20. That's the purpose of the UN. For example, as our president, Cyril Ramaphosa, noted recently in a speech, a German delegate is said to have commented, I've attended summits in 6 continents. I've never experienced a warmth like this. What the f does that have to do with economics? That's your job as a host, to have a warm, welcome environment. And the Germans, you can't trust them. They brought us genocide. They brought us the Nazis. And they brought us bending over backwards, apologizing for things that generations of people had nothing to do with. They have no credibility whatsoever. A Japanese delegate had this to say, your security guards smile while being vigilant. Your driver shares... Did you actually writing this? This is your response to Marco Rubio exposing your fraud? Gee, many crickets. A French delegate shared something profound. We came to discuss economic frameworks. Well, apparently, though. But what we'll remember is how your people made us feel. That's not soft power. That's real power. Oh, please, please. Yeah, let's all stand in line while people greet us and bullets fly, because real power is outside. World leaders, diplomats, delegates, and observers have been sharing their impressions online as well. This guy is clueless, man. Okay, it's a matter of public record. The United States chose not to attend our G20 meetings. That's a lie. That's a lie. Given that absence, the notion of our sabotaging sense is not just incorrect. It misunderstands the very purpose of a forum like G20. This little rodent is going to this little scumbag is going to condescend to the United States. Oh my goodness. Wow. I have no idea if that's true. 51 to 49. I don't know. Wow. Wow. I'm not even going to read the rest of it. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Ronald Lamola has got his head so far up his ass that, you know, he doesn't know what day it is. Wow. So this comes after Ramaphosa had a measured response to this, and I'm going to read a little bit of that. Mad Max gave another 35. What's this? Oh, gosh, here we go. Now this idiot, Fikile Mabalula. So here we go. Remember the fake intelligence report? Yeah, exactly. They lies, they love it.
We have dealt with a number of issues in our country, including the 40% and the setback we have suffered as the movement. And we are in the era of tectonic global situation that is forever fluid. And it looked like our country, South Africa, is going to have a taste of imperialist aggression of the United States of America, led by Donald Trump. From nowhere, we are under attack by the administration of Donald Trump. We must prepare ourselves and prepare our people for a long struggle in the fight of this imperialist aggression. Because in the long term, it will have an impact on the lives of our people and also in terms of our economy. So we must be ready. The ANC resolution says we are the disciplined force of the left, and the ANC is anti-imperialist. We don't believe that we must forsake our sovereignty to another country. We believe in multipolarism, not unilateralism of the United States of America, which behaves like a world policeman and want to tell countries what to do.
What an utter moron. What an utter moron. Let me download. There's nothing wrong with the sound. It's just the quality of the damn thing and where it came from. I can't do anything about that, guys. I'm playing stuff live right from the broadcast. So what I will do is download it and pump up the volume in my software. Pump up the volume. And then I will use it to make a video. This guy is dumber than a box of rocks. So I was just about to say that, hang on a second here. Fikile opens his mouth for December. Okay, so I've saved that now. So what I was just going to say is Ramaphosa, and then Mad Max interrupted me with that update of that idiot. So Ramaphosa took a more measured approach. Cancer being brain dead and don't understand the hypocrisy of their commentary. No, they don't. They're stupid as a box of rocks. Pump up the volume. Yep. Yeah. South Africa wants to be treated as an equal sovereign country. Ramaphosa on US G20 snub. So he says, we haven't seen that in writing. We've just heard the media publications. We are yet to receive it in writing. We'll deal with that when it comes, he told SABC. Asked if he was losing sleep over the astonishing step of seeking to exclude a founding member, Ramaphosa replied, no, I don't have sleepless nights. All we want really as South Africa is to be treated as an equal sovereign country, a country that respects other countries, a country that fosters the success and prosperity of other countries. That's who we are. We wish no country ill in the world, and in fact, as a country, we don't have enemies. We just have friends, and we want to advance the friendship relationships with all the countries of the world. That's our stance, and we will never be derogatory against any country, any leader in the world. Never be derogatory towards any leader, any country in the world. Really? Is that his position? I mean, that's a much more measured approach, but the problem with it is just balderdash. It's poppycock. It's a lie. I mean, we've seen how he responds. Oh my goodness. Let me find this very quickly. Where's it at here? Here we go.
Because as you know, there are a lot of very bad things happening. Very bad things. Terrible things. Terrible things happening. It's a disgrace.
Wow. So we will never mock other nations. We will never say derogatory things about other nations. And what is this? Well, this is just a few days ago.
Because as you know, there are a lot of very bad things happening. Very bad things. Terrible things. Terrible things happening. It's a disgrace.
The party's over, ANC. They can whine and thrash and wail all they want, but the party's over. The pain is coming. Who's the white guy? He's some dumbass. Someone identified him. I don't really care who he is. The guy's an ass. 75 people a day being murdered in South Africa, 27,000 murders a year, gender-based violence, rape is off the charts, 8.5 million people with HIV, the worst on the planet. 650,000 people with tuberculosis. It's horrible. You've got cholera and Haman's crawl. You've got collapsing infrastructure. You've got gangsters running the taxi industry. You've got mafia running the construction industry. And this clown, these two clowns sit there and laugh about it. So Ramaphosa took a more measured approach, but he seems to be the only ANC official who got the message from what was said. Unbelievable. These people are not dumber than a box of rocks. They are the box of rocks. This is beyond belief. Have you met my white Minister of Agriculture yet? Good Lord. Watch him dance. Watch our white Minister of Agriculture dance there, President Trump. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Yeah, he's my white minister. He can really dance, man. Watch his moves. He's like the Bee Gees. Ramaphosa says South Africa will not lobby nations to boycott the United States. Yes, because that would be the death knell of your country. That would be a bad move. The United States has said South Africa will not be invited. We have not seen it in writing. We've only seen the media reports. He was speaking at the Joburg Golf Club today. Stressed that South Africa remained a fully fledged member of the G20. We've held very successful G20. This is not only being sold by us, it's said by many people around the world. They're saying South Africa's presidency of the G20 was very successful. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that if the people that you identify as saying was a successful summit are saying, I've never been greeted so warmly, that's how they describe a summit about economic activity, then that's really just puff. There's nothing to that. Well, Lamola, of course, says the U.S. has no right to lock South Africa at the G20. Well, of course they do. This guy, he'll be the first casualty of the coming clearing. Ramaphosa will soon be deposed by the ANC. You watch. He will be deposed by the ANC. And Lamola will go with him or go before him. Another Zuma daughter headed to parliament as MK party quietly moves to fill vacancies. So more nepotism in the vanity project of Jacob Zuma. A leaked internal letters raised questions about whether another daughter of former President Jacob Zuma is being ushered in the MK party's parliamentary circus. This time, the controversial Brumelda. You are accordingly requested to expedite these deployments through the pertinent parliamentary channels, adhering to all requisite protocols. Brumelda Zuma has previously been accused by party leaders of sowing division in MK structures by creating parallel groups in areas under the party's governance. As far as Jaya's question, where did it go? Generally, what's the issue with South Africa getting to tit for tat? The U.S. is also derogatory things about South Africa. No, what has the U.S. said derogatory about South Africa? The U.S. never said derogatory about South Africa. Donald Trump has said things that are true about South Africa. He's never laughed or mocked at South Africa's president. No. What has America said derogatory? Trump has said derogatory things about Somali immigrants to America. That's true. True statement. He said derogatory things about Rosie O'Donnell. But what did he say derogatory about South Africa? He just stated the facts. And as far as that goes, you're missing the point entirely, Jaya. I covered this in my video last night. South Africa excluded comments and shut down discussion in the working groups that the United States participated. And then Ronald Lamola today lies and says the U.S., it's well documented, it's public matter, public right, the U.S. refused to come to the meetings. That's a lie. Throughout the year, we've been assured. Remember that Trump, when he's asked in February, are you still going to the G20? He goes, I'm not sure about that. And then it was announced that it would be Vance who would go. And so throughout the whole time, the position of Ronald Lamola and the South African government, Vincent Mangwenya and Crispin Piri and all these spokesmen and Ramaphosa, the U.S. President Trump may not be coming, but the U.S. will be represented. And besides, they're participating in all the meetings. They did participate in all the meetings before the Leaders Summit. And what happened? South Africa shut down the discussion and pushed these bullshit narratives and pushed the begging bowl. That's what happened. So the truth is out there now. I surmised that was the case. Now Rubio has stated that it's the case. And it wasn't just the U.S. they shut down. This is the problem. The South Africans hijacked the G20 for their begging. The ANC, I should say, not South Africans. South Africa is a tiny little economy. Nigeria is larger than South Africa after the rebasing several years ago. That's the problem, Jaya. That is the problem. Minister of Corrections Peter Groenewald wants to repatriate 27,000 foreign nationals that are clogging up the prisons. Corrections Services Minister Peter Chernoval was confirmed that his department is working towards the repatriation of approximately 27,000 foreign nationals currently incarcerated in South African prisons. Chernoval emphasized that overcrowding in remand detention facilities is a critical issue, with some prisons operating at 200% capacity. Foreign nationals contribute significantly to the strain on the system, and efforts are underway to repatriate them to countries of origin. However, Chernoval noted that the process requires legislative amendments, which take time. Well, he's on the right track. First time we heard about Peter Chernoval in a while. 13 million criminal cases are closed and unresolved in the past 10 years. Wow. More than 13.2 million SAPS criminal cases were closed without resolution. This was disclosed by Acting Police Minister Firoz Shachala in a parliamentary question and answer session. 8,050,000 were solved and 13,264,000 were closed without resolution. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How does the U.S. punish the ANC without hurting the people of South Africa? Well, one way, Daniel, is I've already covered this many, many times. Travel sanctions. Shutting off their banking cards. Blocking U.S. businesses from doing business affiliated with South African politicians. Yep. Well, Jacob Zuma has lost his latest Stalingrad bid, and he has to pay the $28.9 million legal fees. There you go. Former President Jacob Zuma lost his Gauteng High Court Pretoria bid to appeal the order that he has to pay back $28.9 million bill for his private legal fees. Judge Anthony Millar on Thursday turned down Zuma's application for leave to appeal the payback. So, all right, he won't have to pay it. His friends in Moscow will pay it probably. Folks, humans were in southern Africa. They were isolated until very recently, until the Bantu migration. The Nguni-speaking peoples came. The fossil and genetic evidence agree that modern humans originate in Africa. The most genetically diverse human populations, the groups that have had the longest time to pick up novel mutations, live there today. But the history of what went on within Africa between our origins and the present day is a bit murky. But a new study has managed to extract genomes from ancient samples in southern Africa. While all of these are relatively recent, dating from after the end of the most recent glacial period, they reveal a distinct southern African population that was relatively large outside of the range of previously described human variation and remained isolated until only about 1,000 years ago. About 1,000 years ago. What happened 1,000 years ago? Well, about 1,300 years ago, the Nguni-speaking peoples arrived in southern Africa, ending the isolation of these people and pushing them to the fringes, into the Kalahari, among other places. China's first reusable rocket explodes. It looks like SpaceX. In a dramatic fireball during landing after reaching orbit. After making a successful re-entry, the rocket's first-stage booster appeared to lose an engine during its landing burn. The first test flight of Landspace's Zhinook 3 rocket ended in a fire explosion after successfully reaching orbit. Chinese company Landspace launched a 216-foot stainless steel Zhinook 3 rocket from the Jingwan Satellite Center in the Gobi Desert on December 2nd. The reusable methane liquid oxygen-powered rocket successfully placed its expendable second stage in orbit, but after making a successful re-entry, the rocket's first stage booster appeared to lose an engine, and much like SpaceX went kaboom. Kaboom. China leading the way in firework production, just like SpaceX. Well, Russia has decided to block Roblox over child safety concerns. The platform is also facing scrutiny in several states in the U.S., including Texas, where it's being sued for allegedly failing to protect minors from online predators. Russia's telecommunications watchdog Roskomnadzor has blocked Roblox, a popular gaming platform with children, accused of allowing dissemination of extremist materials and LGBT propaganda. Wow. It restricted access over registered facts of massive repeated dissemination of materials with propaganda justification of extremist and terrorist activities, calls for committing illegal violent actions, and LGBT propaganda, according to Russian news service Interfax. Roblox, kids get addicted to that. Honduras has delayed the release of the election results again. President Trump's candidate had fallen behind by just over 14,000 votes. President Trump announced his plans to remove the outrageous fuel standards, which are driving up the price of automobiles. The CAFE standards will be reduced to a previous level, therefore lowering the price of automobiles by at least $1,000 in the United States. Thank you, President Trump. President Trump announced a rollback of fuel efficiency and tailpipe emissions rules for cars and trucks at a White House event yesterday. Under the rules set by Sleepy Joe Biden, new cars sold in the U.S. would need to get more than 50 miles per gallon by 2031, which is almost impossible, effectively requiring automakers to sell more electric cars to meet the standard. The proposed rule change would lower the figure to 34.5. Last year, new vehicles got 28 miles on gallon. So Trump has reduced the standard, but he still increased it. Notice that? Biden wanted 50 miles. The current level is 28 miles. But Trump lowers it to just 34, so he's still calling for fuel efficiency. Yep, $1,000 less orangutan juice. That's what it's going to lower the price of cars by $1,000 less. These rules are going to allow the automakers to make vehicles Americans want to purchase, not vehicles that Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg want them to build. Yep. Today's victory for common sense and affordability. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Trump's signature's second-term legislation, One Big Beautiful Bill, eliminated financial penalties for car companies that fail to meet the CAFE standards created by Congress in 1975. After the Arab oil embargo. Well, Congress will begin debating the Unaffordable Care Act of Barack Hussein Obama. Senators are expected to vote on extension of enhanced subsidies next week as Republicans search for a market-based solution to skyrocketing costs. And there's the nation's capital, a place kept off limits by the Biden regime for months on end, blocking Americans from seeing their own capital. Yep, that's what they did. Democrats expect to get a Senate vote next week on their plan to extend the expiring enhanced subsidies for Obamacare, but the larger question of reducing the rising cost of health care may have to wait. Both parties agree the U.S. healthcare system is unreasonably expensive, but that's because of the Democrats. That's because of the Democrats. Trump wants to give the money to people instead of insurance companies. Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, says H-1B foreign workers should train Americans and then go home. Treasury Secretary said decades of offshoring left the United States short of critical manufacturing expertise, fueling demand for temporary foreign talent. In an interview with Fox News' Brian Kilmeade on November 12th, he said that the U.S. was forced to take these H-1B workers. Now, this all ties into the immigration story I've been talking about here. Trump describes Somali immigrants as garbage amid feud with Minnesota Congresswoman and governor. President Trump ended his cabinet meeting Thursday by unleashing criticism of Somali immigrants, whom he described as garbage, saying he doesn't want them in the United States. You know, our country is at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. He ascribed the same description to Representative Ilhan Omar. I hope he gets the help he desperately needs, she added. Well, once you're out of office, we'll all get the help we need. Trump's attacks on the American Somali community come as a major contrast to last year when he was campaigning for re-election and gained support from that voting bloc. Trump was asked about why the Minnesota Somali community should support him. He said because they want safety, they want security. They want security just like anybody else. Sal McFick, a Somali American in Minnesota, has emerged as Trump's most vocal supporters when the community spoke. Anyway, well, here's the thing. First off, that's the problem. You're not a Somali American. You're an American. You're either an American or you're not an American. If you're not an American, then get out. If you're an American, fine. But we are here. We Somalis. You're not Somalis. You want Somali? Go back to Somalia. We are here in St. Cloud. Somali community pushes back against Trump's garbage comments. More than 100 people gathered in St. Cloud on Wednesday for an event aimed at showing community solidarity following President Trump's disparaging remarks about Somalis. We are not here tonight because we are afraid, said Abdi Kadir Bashir, Executive Director of the Center for African Immigrants and Refugees. We are here because we refuse to be silent. Here is our message to your hate. You cannot defeat people who have already survived wars. We will outlast your trash talk. Minnesota is home to the largest Somali population in the United States with an estimated 80,000 Somali American residents. No, they're 80,000 Americans, or they're not. Most live in Minneapolis and St. Paul, but in other cities have sizable communities. In St. Cloud, 4,400 claim heritage from there. Most of the Somalis in Minnesota are U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents. Yeah. Not becoming of a president, Somali Americans respond to Trump's garbage remarks. Somali Americans in Minnesota have described their heightened fear in the U.S. after President Trump intensified his criticism of the community this week. Community leaders told the BBC the apprehension is palpable following Trump's remarks in which he said he did not want Somalis in the U.S. and the country would go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage. When you're being targeted by the President of the United States, it's really not a good feeling, says Aj Awed, Executive Director of Cedar Riverside Community Council, which represents a little town known as Little Mogadishu. Really? People that are getting caught up in this are the people who don't speak that great of English, but who have been citizens for decades. Just because you have an accent does not make you any less American. It makes you less American when you run around and you put a hyphenated thing in front of your American. I'm an American. I'm not a German American. I'm not a Irish American. I'm an American. Anxiety grips Minneapolis. Somali communities, immigration agents zeroing in the Twin Cities. Everything seemed normal in Minneapolis' Somali markets. Men sat in barber chairs, women browsed colorful garments at boutiques, and patrons sampled fried sambuzas and rice dishes at eateries. Sometimes, as the Muslim call to prayer was sung at low volume over the loudspeakers, but beneath the calm surface, a quiet anxiety was palpable. Pockets and purses hung a little heavier with immigration documents and passports as the specter of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown loomed over the gathering spots for Somali diaspora. New immigration and customs enforcement operation targeting undocumented Somali immigrants has begun in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Yep. Well, good. Anybody who's undocumented needs to leave. You're not welcome. State Department is reviewing social media. I cautioned you all. So, ladies and gentlemen, I told people earlier this year when Hendo put together a list of questions, and I edited that list, and we reluctantly published that to say these are things you should be aware of in case you get asked questions about it for potential refugee interviews. I said that your social media affects your case. Your social media can affect it. And people came back and said, no, that's not an issue. We were interviewed. They didn't care about that. Well, I warned you. Those who listen to me have not been acting like fools on social media. But some people didn't listen. Student visa and exchange visitor applicants are being subject to an online presence review. State Department announced December 3rd it will add an online presence review to the vetting requirements for all H-1B visa applicants and their dependents starting December 15th. H-1B visa applicants and their dependents will have to make their social media profiles public as of December 15th. To the student visa and exchange visitor applicants are already subject to this review. The screening requirement, the department said, is part of an effort to safeguard Americans' national interests while ensuring that all applicants credibly establish their eligibility for visas sought. Yep, every visa adjudication is a national security decision. Yep, I warned people. Hopefully they listened to me. In an unexpected moment of candor, little Josh, the liar, the scumbag who's the governor of my Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the man who failed to uphold the law in 2020, said that Harris told blatant lies about him. Shapiro appeared to also dismiss some of Harris's accounts about him in her memoir, 107 Days. He said she's trying to sell books. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, looking for attention, said former Vice President Kamala Harris told blatant lies about him in her new book in an unexpected moment of candor during an interview at The Atlantic that was published Wednesday. Shapiro, whom Harris considers a potential running mate, is known for his composure and tendency to stay on message. He's also a scumbag. He's known for that. In a conversation with Atlantic's Tim Alberta, Shapiro appeared to lose his cool when confronted, seemingly for the first time, with excerpts from Harris's then unpublished memoir. In 107 Days, Harris wrote that while interviewing Shapiro during the running mate selection process, he mused that he would want to be in the room for every decision, prompting Harris to tell him blatantly that a vice president is not a co-president. Harris wrote that she worried Shapiro would be unable to settle for the role as number two and that it would wear on our partnership. She told him that every day she was president, she'd have 99 problems and my VP can't be one. Alberta told Shapiro, wrote that Shapiro sounded exasperated when responding to suggestions he'd hijacked his vice presidential interview, saying, I did ask a bunch of questions. Wouldn't you ask questions if someone was talking to you about forming a partnership and working together? Yep. He said that's complete and utter bullshit. I can tell you that her accounts are just blatant lies. I mean, she's trying to sell books and cover ass. I shouldn't say cover ass. I think that's not appropriate. She's trying to sell books, period. No, she's trying to cover ass, Josh. She's trying to cover ass. And we're not interested in you being president, so you can just forget about that right now. You can forget about that right now. New York Times is suing the Pentagon over access. The lawsuit said the Defense Department's new set of rules violates journalists' constitutional guarantees, due process, freedom of speech, and freedom of press. Nope, it doesn't. Nope. You little scumbags aren't entitled to walk around in classified areas and get briefings from people who aren't cleared to talk to media. That's not a violation of the First Amendment. You can put that in your pipe and smoke. You can print whatever you want. Hey, Anna Kruger, you are great, Colonel. Thank you for the 140 Rand super chat there, Anna. I take it things went well. I saw your latest. Okay. And thanks to the folks who helped Anna and her family who are stranded. New York Times accused the Pentagon lawsuit Thursday of infringing on its constitutional rights of journalists by imposing a set of new restrictions. In the suit filed by the U.S. District Court in Washington, the Times argued the Defense Department's new policy violated the First Amendment and seeks to restrict journalists' ability to do what journalists have always done: ask questions of government employees and gather information to report stories. No, you have no right to talk to people about classified and sensitive information. And if they disclose it, they can be punished. The doctor who apparently gave ketamine to Matthew Perry was sentenced to 30 months in prison. No doubt he lost his medical license. Salvador Plasencia, who pled guilty in July to multiple drug charges connected with Matthew Perry's death, was sentenced Wednesday to 2.5 years in prison. I failed Mr. Perry. I failed him. I failed his family. I'm just so sorry. U.S. Attorney's Office, Central District of California, prosecuted the case, released a statement. Rather than do what was best for Mr. Perry, someone who had struggled with addiction for most of his life, Placentia sought to exploit Perry's medical vulnerability for profit. And now he gets 2.5 years in prison for it. Pentagon watchdog said that Pete Hegseth risked the safety of U.S. forces with his use of Signal. Pentagon watchdog has determined that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth risked the safety of service members by sharing sensitive information on Signal. And I agree. It's unacceptable. He should be sanctioned for that action. He could have cost people their lives. He shared that with his family. His family had access to sensitive operational information. Unacceptable. Well, folks, you all talking about gold, navel gazing, but look at the price of silver. It is skyrocketing. Price of silver this week is $57.60. $57.60 for an ounce. Silver was selling for $4 or $5 an ounce just a few years back. $57 an ounce. Silver is spiking. Used in all sorts of things, but no longer film because almost nobody's using actual film anymore. It's all digital. Trump says he supports the release of the alleged drug boat strike, the video, a support decision to knock out the boats. President Trump said yesterday that he would support the release of any footage of the multiple strikes on alleged Venezuelan drug boat from September 2nd. Yep, I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'll certainly release, no problem. There you go. So President Trump said release the footage. Well, folks, where are Christmas trees grown in America? That's an interesting question. A lot are grown right here in Pennsylvania. Did you know that? Odds are your tree comes from Michigan, North Carolina, or Oregon, or from Pennsylvania for here. Yeah. This year's Rockefeller Center Christmas tree was chopped down in Rensselaer County, New York. That is unusual. While New York State is one of 10 leading producers in the U.S., according to the Department of Agriculture, it accounts for less than 3% of the nation's cut Christmas trees. Nationwide, about 1 of every 3 trees for Christmas are cut down every year are cut down in Oregon. U.S. tree farms cut 14.5 million Christmas trees in 2022, the most recent year USDA data was available. More than 300 million Christmas trees growing in approximately 15,000 farms in the U.S. Michigan, North Carolina, and Oregon have the most land devoted to Christmas tree farms. These farms cover more than 400 square miles, a little less than half Rhode Island's area. So here you go. And the 3 counties that cover it in Michigan and 2 in Oregon. Yep. North Carolina, Michigan, and Oregon are the 3 largest counties. Well, Pennsylvania grows a lot of Christmas trees, too. Look at that. Trees are grown all over the country, folks, but the bulk of them are grown in these 3 places. People keep flocking to Linux, but it's not just to get away from Windows, according to this gentleman. The proof in the pudding comes from various sources. Windows 10 nearing the end of its supported life. We told you to consider switching from Windows to Linux, Mint, and other Windows-like Linux distribution. What do we find? Zorin OS is an excellent Linux desktop. Reports the latest release has amassed 1 million downloads in just over a month. 780,000 Windows users don't download 3.5 gigabyte Linux desktop distribution if they're not giving it serious consideration. Well, I may have to give consideration. And that is going to do it for the news. And I apologize for the issue we had earlier, and I'm glad we're back. I uninstalled that update, as I think someone suggested, it was my brother suggested that. It's gone. This government center just shows what the pace of progress can be when the best leaders are chosen. How can they have freedom of speech about what goes on in the Pentagon? Exactly. Are they nuts? Exactly right, Delmarie. They don't get to just walk in the Pentagon. That's limited access. Even as an active duty service member, I had to have an access badge to go in. And I also had to have an access badge that got me into the sensitive compartmented information facilities. But my badge served a dual purpose. Yeah, but not everybody had that badge. A gold reevaluation is coming. Yes, it is. There's going to be a very big shock from gold. When the U.S. economy begins to surge in the coming 18 months and the global economy takes off behind it, then gold is going to drop. Microsoft off the goop with Windows 11. Yep. What else? Linux, Fedora, and Mint is close to Windows. Yeah, Mint, apparently it is. Linux Mint. Let's look that one up. Linux Mint. Linux Mint. Here it is. Got it. Operating system, desktop, laptop, computer designed to work out of the box and comes fully equipped with the apps most people need. Give it a try. You'll love it. Well, we'll see. Thank you for the news. Thank you for 35 Rand making it rain there, Arnold. Appreciate it. Change the Linux in 97. Never look back, says Gray Man. I've been following you for months. Hope to see you soon. Okay, Marcia Ferreira. Here for the news, and you never disappoint. I'm in gold. I just gold. Okay, not sustainable. I've used Linux Mint. It's very nice. Thank you for that, for sharing that. Okay. ANC's there. It says rejoin the G20 in the UK. Yeah, no, that's old news. They said that previously, Diane. Well, fine. They can rejoin the UK. Meantime, a lot more pain is coming their way. Yeah, Medal of Honor recipients get $67,000 a year now. That's a big jump. Good to see Anna Kruger here. Trust it went well. Site breakdown. Yeah, she had the Wyatt Army came to her rescue. So thank you for that. Okay. Electric cars are like people who hate hunting but eat meat from the butchers. They just want it to happen, but they don't feel bad. Mainstream men are mad they can't skulk around 83 bathrooms. I wish Lou Barletta could be the Pennsylvania governor. That Doug Mastriano guy was okay too, but Lou was great. Faithful Farmer, yeah, Lou Barletta would be a good choice. Doug Mastriano is a friend of mine. Did you know that? Did you know Doug Mastriano are friends? We were colleagues at the War College. When he ran for governor, I actually backed his campaign. Yep. I mean, I covered his campaign, not backed it, sorry. Anna Kruger with a super chat. Thank you for that. They're looking for a hidden terrorist. 2 questions. How can non-American people be members of Congress? And did you see Somali riots in Dave Rubin report? I did not see the Somali riots. No, non-Americans cannot be members of Congress. You can only be a member of Congress if you're a U.S. citizen. Ilhan Omar is unfortunately a naturalized citizen. Therefore, she can serve, but she can never be president, thank God. Australia once had the same principles. Foreigners must. Look how they've fallen, exactly. Entitlement sickness, they should be grateful and be humble to be there. It's a privilege. Agree with President Trump. If you come to a country, you need to, it's the U.S. laws, rules, Constitution. If you don't like it, there's a door. That's simple, okay? What else we got here? Give me an old, solid workhorse, no computer engine management, or EV. That said, U.S. had a great EV donkeys years ago. It's great for new electric car sales. The pollution to make one electric battery car is probably more. Yeah, it is. Well, just Ainer, I've covered this many, many times. It's like the solar panels. The amount of time it takes to reach the same amount of carbon emissions from burning hydrocarbons for your electricity, it takes 10 to 12 years before you break even having put solar panels up. In the meantime, you've put more carbon in the air now for the payoff that you'll have less later, and the panels don't last forever. 1,000 is a joke. What was 1,000? Oh, the car. That's a joke. A $29,000 car costing $1,000 less. That's a good deal. Yep. F. Becker, I actually enjoyed seeing how you are struggling to get going. Determination to see someone having the same trouble I started with recently makes me feel ashamed. I'm sorry you had the same problem. This is Microsoft. Yeah, no, but I mean, I really hate disappointing people. Again, this morning I let someone down, and it wasn't intentional. I felt bad about it. All right, so, I mean, Elon blew a lot of rockets up, yeah, and he's still blowing them up. And there's a super chat come from Bitter Ender. Does the U.S. use standard Langstroth boxes? I don't know what that is. Langstroth box, I don't know what that is. I think Peter Chernow is watching this channel. It was just mentioned yesterday he's quiet. And did I? Yeah, I know. Yeah, maybe. I will say it again. If Europe have to choose between a small economy and a superpower, which one do you think they'll choose? Yep. No matter what they say, we'll turn their backs on South Africa. Yep. Been so tempted to put on job applications when I provide my school certificate. Problem is, how does the U.S. punish the innocent without hurting? I already covered that. That was earlier, okay. Marco Rubio today is hosted. Kenya gave them $850 million to build hospitals. Wow. $850 million to build hospitals. And South Africa got nothing. Truth, integrity, and true caring of people and wisdom is what brings true success, not the traits of the ANC government. Yep. Looking at Zoom is wait. Okay. I don't know if Fikini Mabalula. Yep. Anyway. I didn't notice he called people to arms. I'll listen to it again. Worked it out. Buying cash is a much better deal, but you carry risk. Sandy says, I give Santa a run for his money. Well, I play Santa on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Oh, we haven't had the Advents calendar. Got so busy yesterday we didn't get around the Advents calendar. So let's do that. We're a couple days behind now, so let me see if I can't get this guy like the new background decorations. Thank you. I'll put some more up here shortly. Oh, we're down to 21. 21 days before Christmas. Okay. Kinder Chocolate. I got to get 3 and 4 out of here now. There's 4. Where's 3 at? There's 3. So this is a choo-choo train. Okay. But it's an egg that comes out. Ooh, an egg came out, but the train was a symbol. 3. This is kind of a weird one. Usually what's on the picture is what you get. Here's a heart, Hudson. So that's the Kinder Chocolate one. Okay. Put that back there. Okay. Then we have this one. And I need to get to 3. That's yesterday. This is just directly chocolate underneath it. It's a star. So that's the star that guided them to the Christ child, I would guess. 3. And now I need 4. And there's 4 down here by the reindeer's nose. And this one is a sleigh with a package on it. Okay, it takes care of that one. Young Sheldon. I could stomach that show for a little bit. It got kind of old. Andy Potts' role was good, though. So here is the last of my Advents calendar. So I'm looking for 3. It's up here at the top. Okay. What do I get out of this one? Come out of there. I got a little antique car, like a Model T. And I need number 4 now. That's 3. There's 4 right here in the middle. And that one is a sleigh, just like the other one. Well, this is almost the same pattern as the other one, isn't it? It is the exact same pattern. Haha. I just caught on to that day 4 that they're the same pattern, so I'll keep that in mind. But now I've got myself 6 little chocolates here. All right, so by the way, so the bet for the Starbucks challenge, this is it. It's over. Today's the last day. I'm done. I can buy myself a Frappuccino now. I came from the dentist earlier, and a clean bill of health. No cavities. Teeth are in good shape. Fantastic. Yep. Got my old folks discount. No, my military discount. Yeah, from my cleaning. Had my teeth cleaned this morning. Boy. No plaque buildup. Okay. Young Sheldon the other day, and in one episode, Elon Musk was sitting with Sheldon's notebook where he wrote the idea of using rockets again. I like how he says chocolate. Well, how else would I say chocolate? Schokolade? Ja, das ist aber auf Deutsch Schokolade. Auf Englisch, das heißt chocolate. No Frappuccinos. Now comes the next phase of waiting. Keep good faith and good luck. Enjoy the white Christmas. Well, Yaku, I don't know if I'm having a white Christmas. By the way, folks, okay, I've got to tell you this right now. I have received, I don't know, I don't want to embellish, a dozen messages, maybe 15 messages from refugees who have arrived in the past 2 days in America. Not making it up, folks. All right, let me just show you this. I wanted to show you this last night, but the computer was acting up. Is it working now? Let's see. Let me get rid of this because that picture came out wrong. Where's it at here? Hang on a second. Oh, no, it's here. Come on. There it is. So, I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is what refugees sent me who landed a couple of days ago. And then they sent me this one. So, hang on a second here. All right, so you guys ready for this? Okay, here we go. So this is the picture I got. So obviously they hooked up to the Wi-Fi in flight because look at this. This is while they were en route. Look at that. And then this was the one that's more telling. Anybody, that could be a picture anywhere, but this has to be a specific picture. Destination, 4,000 kilometers to go over the South Atlantic. South Africans coming to Atlanta. Look at that. Prachtig. Pretty. Yes. Look at that. Folks, I've got message after message after message after message from people who've arrived in the States. I don't even, I mean, a lot of these I don't have. These are people who've contacted me out of the blue, who are in the groups. The people coming over, it's happening, folks. I mean, I'm not endorsing it or encouraging it, but it is happening. Let me see if I can find some of these here. Yep. Let me see. I'm trying to find some of them. I've sent a lot of messages out earlier, so. Okay. Hang on. Sorry. My typing skills have really gone downhill. Taking that update out seems to have done the trick here, because now nothing is slowing down. They're reading things fine. Yeah, I'm trying to find it because I've sent so many messages out. I'm not seeing the ones that they sent to me. Come on, where are they at here? Not that one. Come on. Where are these people at? Did they delete their accounts on me? These people ask me for stuff now. I'm looking for the ones. Okay, now I can't find them. Now I feel like an idiot. Well, take my word for it. Not finding it. Anyway, oh well, not important now. I'll find it later on. So anyway, sorry, I don't want to keep you all waiting. May I ask if Atlanta's the only origin direct? No, it's not the only location, Karen. I've covered this many times. The two airlines being used are Delta and United, which are the only American carriers that fly to South Africa. Delta flies to Atlanta. United flies to Newark. Yep. And sometimes they also, I don't know if they also fly to Atlanta, but yeah. So no, it's not the only place. But that is the only place you're going to fly into. Someone's afraid of heights and has never been flown. Being over that much water for so long looks terrifying. Just close the window. Close the window. Put your shade down. Nope, they're coming over on a daily basis, Yaku. Who told you weekly? They're coming over on a daily basis, man. People are coming over almost every day. Yeah, and the numbers are astounding. Yep. Swiss felt like a hotel, even nice music. Yeah, Swiss Airlines is pretty good. It's a shame they're owned by Lufthansa now, though. Well, that's not a problem. Kathy says, don't worry, behind. Looks like, okay. No, Yaku, they're coming over on a daily basis. Chris says, suppose you had lots of chocolate if you're Santa. No one wants a skinny Santa. No, I want to be skinny. I don't want to be fat. Okay. Yeah, you get a connecting flight. Once you land, you're put in after you go through immigration, you collect your bag and recheck it. You go on to your destination. So I know of people who have gone to Rochester, people who've gone to Texas, people who've gone to Florida, people who've gone to Maine, people who've gone to Iowa. Those are all messages I received without disclosing who they are. I was trying to find the messages. Those are the places I've heard from people just the past 2 days. Iowa, Connecticut, New York, Florida, Texas, all in the last 2 days. Yep. I'm getting messages from people who have U.S. phone numbers now, who had a South African number last time they contacted me, and also people who have South African numbers because they're using Wi-Fi for their WhatsApp. Yep, it's happening. It's truly, truly happening, folks. Lots of people pouring into the country. Yep, but no Somalis, no Uyghurs, no Congolese. Yep. Nice. This is more than news. This is Comedy Hour too. Yes, Cristo de la Queria. Of course, it's Comedy Hour. We do the comedy afterwards. Assimilating doesn't mean you have to completely abandon your culture. No, it doesn't. Nope. So, for instance, the Amish have assimilated into America, but they've retained their cultural distinctiveness, their language, their faith, their close community, but they pay taxes, they contribute economically to the country, they obey our laws, and they contribute to society. Yep. A hybrid's not a bad idea. It's okay, because you get the best of both. That massive car battery can catch fire at any time doesn't really appeal to me. All right. I think I've caught up on all that chat. Load of pyramid cases were approved before lockdown, sit in limbo. Well, that's your impression, Ian. I saw your WhatsApp message. I can tell you that many of those people have come over. I don't know who's in your group and where you're getting their information from, but many of those people have come over. Salem, Massachusetts. I don't really care for Massachusetts, but whatever you get, you get. Off to Virginia next week. Email. Well, Hank, you shouldn't have said that, but I'm going to once again put the word out there, folks. Yeah, I don't know what that is either. Lungsworth boxes. Sounds like some kind of electrical junction box. I have not heard from any refugees who are willing to do an interview who've arrived here since September. The door is open, especially if you're colored or Indian. Nothing against white folks, but colored Indian, we have to refute the nonsense that's going on out there. So I welcome and I encourage, if you're uncomfortable appearing on camera, we can, as I said before, we can keep your face off the screen and I'll create fake names and people won't know who you are. So I've done that. And hundreds of you, hundreds, probably close to 1,000 people promised they're going to give me interviews. And so far, I know of several hundred people who've come over in the past since the 24th of November, and not one of them has contacted me for an interview. To be fair, they've just arrived. They have other things in their plate, and that's fine. You don't need to talk to you when you first arrive. But as we get closer to Christmas, I would expect some of these people to follow through on their promises. How will the refugee program go forward if Southern government refuse flights? Well, if they can't refuse flights. You mean refuse U.S. carriers? Well, they can do that, but they're going to hurt South Africans. If they do that, then we will suddenly have U.S. ships off the coast of South Africa. That I guarantee. That I guarantee. No, that's not true, Voidy. That's not true. That's not true. Not true. That's not the case. The NDA can't apply to them living in the States. That's why I ask very circumspect questions. Never ask where the interviews take place. I never ask the questions to ask the interview. No, I don't do that. 12-week ban? Ooh, that's crazy. Oof, that's a midpoint. So let's take a look at that. So, Eben Etzebeth. Yeah, let's see what the news says. 12 weeks. Wow. Well, that's what he's going to be remembered for. Wow. Etzebeth gets a 12-week ban. Wow. Eben Etzebeth was suspended for 12 matches for eye gouging. Suspension covers matches for the Durban-based Sharks starting from this weekend to the end of March. Sharks deregistered Etzebeth this week in anticipation of a lengthy ban. Sent off on Saturday at the end of the game. His first red card in his 13-year international career, the two-time World Cup winner has played the most tests for the Springboks at 141. The gouge was determined to be intentional by an independent disciplinary committee. He pled guilty and apologized. Regarding the sanction, the panel started at 18 weeks and reduced it by 6 weeks, taking consideration of his previous disciplinary record. He was the third lock to be sent off during the Springboks' 5-match unbeaten tour. Skalk Berger says he should have just punched Alex Mann. Springboks legend Skalk Berger believes that Eben Etzebeth was better off punching Wales' Alex Mann during the latter stages of the clash. Etzebeth faces, well, he does, he's got the 12-week ban. Wow. Speaking on the verdict show, Berger and fellow former Springboks Jean de Villiers and Hayani Shamangi reviewed the incident. Berger, who was banned for 8 weeks for an eye gouge during the 2009 British and Irish Lions, admits that he isn't the one to really talk, but did weigh into the events. If there's a blotch on your end-of-the-year tour, it's got to be the discipline. 3 straight red cards, 2 of them we don't agree with, but like you can't say anything, but Eben Etzebeth is a straight red card. We don't know what happened before between him and Man on the ground. You see some clips. I mean, you can't do that about stills. You've got to go and look at what happened. Eben will explain more. It's a big loss for the Sharks. They're going into the Champions Cup now and obviously going to have a tough run. De Villiers replied, so much happened beforehand. You see an elbow also kind of on Eben there, and see said after he can't think that he would do something like that on purpose, but unfortunately it's just the fact that it's in the face area. Yeah. And they return to the conversation later on. Obviously there's a scuffle here. It seems like a hell of a lot happened prior to that. Former Springbok prop Shamange added, yeah, that's what I'd like to see. What happened before? What actually causes this? Borger said that Etzebeth was still in the wrong because he ran the risk of eye gouging a player when he put his hand in the opponent's face. That's where he gets it wrong. He's pushing the face. Yep, exactly. Yep, Etzebeth. Shamangi continued. You see a lot of those push and shoves and all that, so it happens. I think at one stage the ref was going to say, guys, scuffle. It's done. Game is almost over. Leave it. That's when he went back and looked, and obviously the eye contact. Oof. 12 weeks. That's half of what he could have gotten. Yes, I'm covering the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup for this weekend. So let me see if that still sits here on my thing. EPCR. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Schedules for this weekend. Matches. The Challenge Cup. Okay. Okay, so for the Champions Cup, we've got Friday. I've got the Bayonne versus the Stormers. That's at 3 o'clock my time. That's going to be 10 o'clock South African time. So I'll be covering the Stormers in the Champions Cup. And then the Bulls are also in Champions Cup, and they play Bordeaux. And that is on Saturday at 10 a.m. my time. So that's going to be 5 p.m. South Africa time. And I think that's it. Do we have any other South Africans there? Oh, that's it. So that's only round one. Okay. That's it. It's the only. Oh, I'm sorry. The Sharks. Sharks are in round one. They play Sunday. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll have a South African game, and then in the Challenge Cup, let's see if the Cheetahs got invited again this year. The Lions are playing on Saturday at 8 o'clock, so I'll have that against Benetton. They'll beat Benetton, and that's that one. As long as I have the game, I should have the game. I have to double check. And then the other game should be, or the Cheetahs. There's the Cheetahs. Cheetahs play Sunday at 12:30. So I'll have the Cheetahs against Exeter. That's going to be tough for the Cheetahs. Yep. So I'll have 5 games this weekend. 5 games. 5 games. Am I correct in saying that the Winter USA has central heating and major majority of homes people are a lot warmer in their homes? Yes, that's correct. Any home built after the 1960s is typically has central heating. I have central heating. Yep. Cristo Delaquarin says, will you stop working a bit this year and spend time with your loved ones? Well, it's a fair question. I am spending time with my loved ones, my beloved audience, my viewers, my guests, the world. I'm spending time with my loved ones. My mother's passed away. My father's passed away. My siblings live thousands of miles away. And yeah, so no, I spend my time with people every day. His time was counting rather now than 3 years because he would have retired. Who? Eben? All right, Wilma, take care. Most of the U.S. is well prepared for winter. Yep. If you leave the central heating off to save money, does water pipes freeze? Well, Philip, that depends on the temperature. It also depends on your pipes, and how your house is. I leave my temperature off. I leave what's actually 20 right now. It's turned up, but in November I had the heat off most of November, and it was down to 16 on that thing over there. So. Yeah, no, it just depends. I mean, even if you have heat, sometimes pipes freeze. Depends how the place are built. Elna Pretorius, going to a neighborhood watch meeting. We'll finish watching me later. Okay, thanks, Elna, for being here. Appreciate it. And then Ludwig Hoya says thank you. Utopi. And then Francis Antifloy. Yeah, you can let water drip so it doesn't freeze, but that isn't a perfect solution. Yep. So, anyway, oh, here's a bold claim here. Former Springboks captain Corne Krieger says the Rugby World Cup draw was manipulated to ensure the Southern Hemisphere top dogs locked one another out of the tournament. I thought people were going to say that. Tom Mario, thank you for your subscription. I thought that. And thank you, Nicola and Loretta. Okay. I always do a Christmas broadcast. I try to get guests, but I stopped doing it last year because People just don't come on. I promise I invite them. I invite all these performers to come on and just say hello to everyone, but that it never happens. Dr. Peter Hammond's pretty consistent. He shows up. So maybe I'll do it again this year. And traditionally, Christmas Day has been one of the biggest super chat days of the year because people send me stuff for my birthday, which is pretty cool. Yeah, my YouTube crashed a bit, so sorry about that, orangutan juice. Yeah, so he says, Corny Krieger says, Rugby World Cup draw was manipulated to ensure that the Southern Hemisphere top dogs knocked one another out. Yep. The draw for the 2027 Rugby World Cup was conducted on Wednesday, as with host Australia drawn along with New Zealand in Pool A, as well as Hong Kong and Chile. Meanwhile, back-to-back winners South Africa have been pitted alongside Italy, Georgia, and Romania. The major controversy from the draw is that the Springboks are likely to meet either Australia or New Zealand in the quarterfinals, with the winners of Pool A and B set to square off in the last 8. 2023 World Cup caused a similar stir when then the top 4 ranked teams faced off in the quarterfinals. That's true, with the All Blacks ultimately beating Ireland and Springboks and France. Oh, they didn't beat South Africa. That's wrong. No, it's the other way around. If Ireland or Scotland and England top their pools, their route to the possible final would see them sidestep South Africa, France, and one of New Zealand, Australia. Steve Borthwick's men would have to face the All Blacks or Wallabies in the quarters, and then possibly Ireland, Scotland, or Argentina. So, speaking of the Afrikaans publication Netwerk 24, former Buck flanker and captain Krieger said the new format following the expansion of 24 teams has been rigged so that teams from the Southern Hemisphere eliminate one another, making the path easier for a country in the Northern Hemisphere to win the title. He added that it's nice that the top 2 teams in the world, South Africa and New Zealand, will meet so early in the competition. What? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway. So now we're into the Championship Challenge Cup, and I'll be covering that this weekend. An odd question. What domestic water pipes are most galvanized copper or PVC? It depends. PVC is used for waste. So your toilets and your drains usually have PVC. Copper zinc pipes, I think, are galvanized to use for water. So going for church service, this is the best thing. Okay, Philip. Christmas cake. The states also health and safety in the workplace regulating to the ground. Yeah, we have OSHA, Office of Occupational Safety and Health Administration. And OSHA oversees workplace safety, and some is necessary. It's not over the top. I don't know what PEX is. An odd question. Well, that may be the standard now, but there's hundreds of millions of homes in America that have been built for the past century, 2 centuries. Yeah, how would South Africa government try to enforce blocking flights? They would have to shut down Delta and United. Well, people wrap water pipes here too. They're wrapped in insulation. Yeah. Brick has more diplomatic skill than our South African officials. So let me take a quick look at things here, folks, because all this restart and all this crap that's going on. Again, thank you, everybody, for your patience and coming back with me. I'm so angry about Microsoft. So we had 1,359 people tune in for the first one. Oh, what is this? Why am I doing extra layer security? I'm in the middle of a broadcast and you're telling me to verify who I am? YouTube? What the hell? I'm in the middle of a broadcast. It's ridiculous. I got to check my phone. Oh, so I went live on my phone between setting these things up, but uninstalling the update seems to fix the problem. Yes, it's me. Leave me alone. Stupid website. All right, now we're back. Anyway, so I got 404 who watched my phone broadcast. I'll put the that wasn't monetized. Now I'll monetize it. Okay, and then this one here, we've got, 1,400 or so have tuned in for this. But I want to see the videos I produced earlier and see if I've got any views on those. So, the one I did last night about Marco Rubio slamming the ANC is only at 31,000. That's a bit disappointing. That was major news. Major news. It should have had 100,000. I guess I'm not going to see that, so I'll be happy with this, I guess. Getting about 1,700 views per hour right now, so maybe it'll hit 50,000 if I'm lucky. ANC and DA vote for the school. I premiered that. That only has 5,800. So the ANC and the DA voted to retain 30% education standards. What is wrong with the DA? What is wrong with them? Unbelievable. The DA Really needs an enema. Unbelievable. I mean, it's insane, folks. It's insane. I mean, where have they got their head? Wow. I only had 52,000 views yesterday? That's shocking. Oh, well. So much for life. Who passed away? Who passed away, Francis? Yaku Basson. Who is the sucker and who's the fool? What are you talking about? I don't know how the Freedom Front voted. I couldn't find that. The EFF, MK, and IFP voted to increase the standards. Oh. Thank you for sharing that, Francis. %30 is not the pass rate because first the principal can add up to 10% to force pass and then education partners. So they're not even getting 30%. GA is 30%. Wow. Ludwig says, forgive me. Forgive me for what? Am I missing steam crabs? Yes, Mad Max, I'm missing steam crabs. I'm missing them immensely. I miss the steam crabs. Yep, missing. But you know what? I'm not missing the credit card bill. I paid my bills this month. I got them all done yesterday. What was left of them. Paid because most of my bills cycle at the beginning of the month, but I have a few bills that cycle later in the month. So I paid them all. And still had crabs on one of my credit card bills. So that credit card bill is much larger than it should have been. It'll be smaller next month. Rainer Schulten, who's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't have to block flights. There's no jet fuel at Cape Town. Daniel, that's what I say all the time. Imagine the surgeon who got 52% in biology being your surgeon, or the engineer who got 38% in physics being your bridge designer. You're right. The G20 is no place for failed states. Del Mariette's on your end. Pass voting will enhance the 30% infrastructure of the 7% crime. Wills gave a membership, and Renee Fisaki got it. A school can also not fail a student 2 years in a row. So if you fail this year, you'll be exactly. Yep. The hell is this? I don't remember what this video was. When did I do this video? I remember that one. So, anyway, yeah. So back to the start of this thing, folks. Marco Rubio just devastated South Africa, and I think the thing that really needs to stand out for people is need to pay attention to what was said there. Let me find that statement that I want to read to you guys. That is just insane. So here's the bottom line with this, okay? The United States supports the people of South Africa, but not its radical ANC-led government, which includes the DA, and will not tolerate its continued behavior. Are they getting that message? Will not tolerate its continued behavior. That's crazy. That's just crazy. But that's the reality, folks. I haven't updated my Substack in a little bit. I probably need to write something for that. Yep. Anyway. Yep. That's just crazy. Will not tolerate their behavior. Yes, Arnie, you came late. I read Ronald Lamola's reply. I also did a short on it before we went live. See if the short will even play on here. Hang on. It's with phones. You always can't pick up a sound. So let me see if my short's here. There it is. Well, earlier I said that pride cometh before the fall, and that is definitely the case here. So, folks, just a mere 4 hours ago, President Cyril Ramaphosa took a very measured and diplomatic approach regarding Secretary of State Marco Rubio's Substack statement about South Africa and the G20. It was very measured. It's pretty good. If he behaved like this throughout the year, then America probably... So that's a short I did on this topic. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Marissa. The ANC is telling black South Africans that you're dumb. They're telling them, that you're only capable of achieving 30% and that our standards for you are quite low. How many likes? I don't know how many likes we've got here. Let me take a look and see. I may download this Linux just for the heck of it. Well, Mark Hubert's other people need to fly too. I mean, if I come to South Africa, I need a ticket. I'm not a refugee, and diplomats need to go back and forth. Business people, so you can't have all the seats. 545 likes. Well, look at that. 545. Just a little bit of super chat revenue though. Screen shows 5 for the grizzly bear. Thinks he can take on the polar bear. Exactly. No, they're not a grizzly bear. They're more like a cub. DA have a lot of surprise waiting for them. They'll lose a lot of supporters, of whom I am the first, says Vincent Dutoy. Question now is, whom will we vote for? Freedom Front Plus, ACDP. DA can't forget about my vote. I may vote EFF and local government has no chance of winning. I believe in voting and pray Freedom Front access to run the E2 Queen. Then vote for the Freedom Front Plus. Get VirtualBox and install Linux in there if you want to take it for a test drive first. Okay. VirtualBox. That's an idea. Watch why people need to acquire their flight details. Yeah, they shouldn't mention they're flying. It's a panda bear taking a grizzly. That's probably better. That's probably a better statement there. Yep, Trump banned South Africa from next G20 summit. That's one of my links. Yeah, I got 553 likes now. 450 people here. Folks, I'm going to read the statement again because we got a lot of people here and some people came afterwards, and then I'm going to talk about Lamola. So let me read the statement for you. That's the wrong window. Hang on. I got to set up all my streams for rugby this weekend too. Also got a meeting tonight. Here we go. I'm going to read the portion that's relevant to South Africa, not the rest, okay? So, okay, hang on a second here. All right. So, we will be inviting friends, neighbors, and partners to the American G20. We will welcome the world's largest economies, as well as burgeoning partners and allies to America's table. In particular, Poland, a nation that was once trapped behind the Iron Curtain, but now ranks among the world's 20th largest economies, will be joining us to assume its rightful place in the G20. Poland's success is proof that a focus on the future is a better path than one on grievances. It shows how partnership with the United States and American companies can promote mutual prosperity and growth. The contrast with South Africa, host of this year's G20, is stark. South Africa entered the post-Cold War era with strong institutions, excellent infrastructure, and global goodwill. It possessed many of the world's most valuable resources, some of the best agricultural land on the planet, and was located around one of the world's key trading routes. And in Nelson Mandela, South Africa had a leader who understood that reconciliation, private sector-driven economic growth were the only path to a nation where every citizen could prosper. Sadly, Mandela's successors have replaced reconciliation with redistributionist policies that discouraged investment and drove South Africa's most talented citizens abroad. Racial quotas have crippled the private sector, while corruption bankrupts the state. The numbers speak for themselves. As South Africa's economy has stagnated under its burdensome regulatory regime, driven by racial grievance, and it falls firmly outside the group of the 20 largest industrialized economies. Rather than take responsibility for its failings, the radical ANC-led South African government has sought to scapegoat its own citizens and the United States. As President Trump has rightly highlighted, the South African government's appetite for racism and tolerance for violence against its Afrikaner citizens have become embedded as core domestic policies. It seems intent on enriching itself while the country's economy limps along, all while South Africans are subject to violence, discrimination, and land confiscation without compensation. Its former ambassador to the United States was openly hostile to America. Its relationships with Iran, its entertainment of Hamas sympathizers, and cozying to America's greatest adversaries move it from the family of nations we once called close. The politics of grievance carried over to South Africa's presidency in the G20 this month, which was an exercise in spite, division, and radical agendas that have nothing to do with economic growth. South Africa focused on climate change, diversity and inclusion, and aid dependency as central tenets of its working groups. It routinely ignored U.S. objections to consensus communiques and statements. It blocked U.S. and other countries' inputs into negotiations. It actively ignored our reasonable faith efforts to negotiate. It doxed U.S. officials working on the negotiations. And it fundamentally tarnished G20's reputation. For these reasons, President Trump and the United States will not be extending an invitation to the South African government to participate in the G20 during our presidency. There is a place for good faith disagreement, but not for dishonesty or sabotage. Sabotage. The United States supports the people of South Africa, but not its radical ANC-led government, and will not tolerate its continued behavior. When South Africa decides it has made the tough decisions needed to fix its broken system, is ready to rejoin the family of prosperous and free nations, the United States will have a seat for it at our table. Until then, America will be forging ahead with a new G20. And Lamola had a predictable, response, but it's a waste of time to read what he said. The DA is very disappointing. All right, it's time for a poll, folks. You ready for a poll? Don't run anywhere. Start a poll. Okay. All right, who will be gone first from the political scene, folks? I put 4 options up there for you. ANC's, I already read that. I'm way behind on chat over here. Nicola, a little love. Thank you for so much, Carl. You're very welcome. Thank you for that. Oh, super chat. Hercules. Super chat. Yes. Forwarded some replies on post to you on X. Oh, I'm sure they're nasty, Loretta. I'm sure they're nasty. Let me see if I can find them from you. Okay, maybe I got the wrong Loretta here. Because I'm not getting anything there. Unless you meant in an email. Well, Yaku Basson, you won't be able to vote until you become an American citizen. Poll is up, folks. Chance to vote in that. Let's see who goes first. A difficult poll. It is a difficult poll. I didn't want to make it easy on you. Spicy Tunes is back. Yep. If I have my software developer certificates qualifications, you think there will still be needing my metric? Yeah, you still have to provide that sort of stuff, but I don't think it'd be a problem. I mean, you just list where you got it. That's fine. Got my first-hand experience as a South African demographics today. My black colleagues believe the ANC is justified with race laws. Colleagues are very nice. We get along very well. Worth mentioning. Yeah, no. If they think it's right, then they're just foolish. They don't understand how life works. They believe they need help from being race laws. They agree with corruption and everything else. Yeah, well, they're wrong. That's racist. She posted on X. Who posted on X? Thank you for your selfless work and time. We truly appreciate it. You're very welcome, Vincent. And again, my apologies for taking 45 minutes to get the thing going, folks. That was really rough. It's hard to do. A stupid computer act, but now it's fine. Fiverr is buffering badly in East Rand. Mobile data is just as bad. Okay, all right. Thank you, Benjamin. I want to vote for all of them. You can't. You got to pick one. 360 at 46 gave 70 Rand. Clouds are gathering. It's been a slow week. I mean, we had some good stuff on Sunday, but it's been slow other than that. We've fallen behind. Voters approximately 4 ways that they want to vote for a real party. Who cares for all citizens? Freiheit, freedom from... Okay. Certain things are fine, but when you ask the student to explain, they can't even guess what the code is by reading what they stated within the code. You have to wonder why. Well, I don't wonder why they got in university. You know how they got in university. People there that don't belong in university are simply allowed because of quotas. I don't know. When did he use government funds to promote himself? You're welcome, 360. Thank you for the super chat. Because the rest of the world is in large part read by racists, bigots. That's why. That's why. You know, I need to take a break when I finish this broadcast. If there's no news breaking, I need to sit down and decompress for a few minutes and also, you know, maybe play a little game online or on my computer. They can't get rid of the big spender. Hey, big spender. How's it going? Johnny Boo will be the first to go. Yep. Everything entertaining as always, Colonel. Thank you for all you do. All right. Problem is there are black guys that can barely speak or read English, but they have software engineering degrees. Because people fake them and buy them. Berto, Helen has bigger balls than John. Yeah, John is history. I think he is. His mealy mouth response. By the way, let me check on that because that was interesting. So let me go to the truth report. Not truth report. I keep saying, but I'm going to go to the business. Business. Okay. Oh my goodness. Who's this? Okay, yesterday it didn't. Okay, today it shows my video. So today it shows my video. Yesterday business didn't have my video. It's at 58,000 and Steenhuisen's at 32. So Steenhuisen's video, his interview, his response to R.W. Johnson lambasting him and roasting him in an op-ed on Biz News, got 32,000 views. My video with Chris Sten has 58,000 views. Would you like to play a game? How about a nice game of tic-tac-toe? What about global thermonuclear war? Yes, Spicy Tunes gave a $20 super chat. Thank you for that, Jerry. I think I thanked you at the time. If I didn't, I apologize. The mini stream, we'll call it that. Yep. Question on your opinion about taking out the... Well, Hundo, I've talked about that. I'm not in favor of it. I'm in favor of interdiction and capturing them. If they fire at you, then blow them out of the water. But yeah, that's my position on it. But I'm not making those decisions. So that's how I would do it. Poll didn't pop up, Benjamin. Well, you're having fiber problems. All the gamers showing themselves in chat. Yep. Have a great night. Okay, anyone else online starting to feel depressed? Why are you depressed, Shelly? Why are you depressed? Definitely need to take time off. Odd, whenever you say you're about to end stream, I get more ads. No, Chris, I'm not worried about Ramaphosa. I'm saying the DA is going to sack him as leader of the DA. That's what I'm talking about. Can you build a LYTN in your shed? I don't have a shed, and what's an LYTN? Debbie gave me 350 Rand super chat. Thank you, Debbie. Whirlwind says, no thanks. I don't want to play thermonuclear war. It gets too hot. Red light, green light for C-Nozen. Maybe only Americans get that joke. Yeah, Holden, probably. No, but some South Africans got it. It's a classic film. Matthew Broderick's first film ever. And as Ali Sheedy, I think, was in it too. Fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. And then, what's his name? That one guy, the actor. You're very welcome, Debbie. Thank you for the super chat. It's very kind of you. Juju's quiet because he's got probably an arrest warrant in the U.S. He can't go to the UK, so he can't travel now. So he doesn't know what to say. Also, his popularity is plummeting. I'm always gaming and tuning in on Streamlabs. Okay, Neth, that's good. Just shows you that your content is absolutely amazing and to the point. It also shows you that when my content isn't censored, when I'm on a different program, a different platform, you see what happens. So you have the leader of what was the opposition party, of a party that got 3.5 million votes in the last election, a party that has been around for 20 some years, and I'm doing YouTube content and mine is just rolling over top of him. I'm going to have almost twice as many views. Last night, he had more views than me because it was published an hour before mine. So, look, I'm not trying to compete with Steenhuisen. I'm just trying to say that you see what happens? 58,000 on that video. My videos aren't being shown to anybody. Yesterday, that video wasn't being put on here. When I went and I showed you Biz News channel yesterday, I downloaded it. Yep, when I downloaded Biz News yesterday, I went to the site. My video wasn't there. Now it's there. Look at this. There's Steen. He's always been there. So all these other people getting promoted, and mine wasn't getting promoted. See? It's there now, though. All these others are being promoted. Yes, I went through the whole list. Now it's being promoted. Yep. So anyway, whatever. Yes, I need to make a song, no RSA in USA. Yep. The real quote is pride goes before destruction. Well, I like pride goeth before the fall. He'll be able to travel from prison cell to prison cell. Yeah. Juju has a judgment coming. Did you know that his wife is cousin? No, I didn't know that, but I know he has judgment coming in January, so maybe he's looking for his escape path. Paul de Klerk says, thank you for your comment. You're welcome, Paul. What did I say? Content's 1,000 times more informative. Yes, but if only they would share my content with more people. I've looked to see, what's going on. Yeah. Let me see something here. Let me look at this here real quick. It doesn't give me, that's not what I want. It gave me my actual channel. I don't want that. I was looking for the stats over here. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's giving me, okay. Huh. So one of my favorite interviews is the one I did with Frick Peterson. That was a pretty cool one. That one got 34,000 views. Make a new song, Rubio's deal, PKs. YouTube is shady. It is. Shelly says, not sure what we do without you. Well, Shelly, I still don't know why you're depressed. Don't be depressed. I think it's good news. That they are, they're paying attention now. Minesweeper. I never got Minesweeper. It just didn't do it for me. Yep. Anyway, how we doing? Looks like Steenhuisen is winning. Excuse me. 200 plus votes on that. Steenhuisen is winning. Come on, guys. Hit the like button. We got 589 likes. And let me just get, come on over here. Come on. All right. So we covered that press conference the other day. That was huge. That was huge, man. Let me check on something here really quickly. I want to see if anything is breaking at this hour. Anyway, I'm chuffed, as South Africans like to say. I'm chuffed because I went to the dentist and no cavities. No cavities, man. Good visit to the dentist. Got my teeth cleaned by the hygienist. Polished. Yeah, they're going to listen to the admiral who ordered the strikes. Oh, by the way, yeah, the FBI arrested, that was the one that's missing. The FBI arrested a suspect in the January 6th pipe bombing incident. Remember that from a few years back? Yeah, that's what disappeared. I knew I had some more stuff in here. That was one of them. Yep. Trump's garbage rhetoric about Somalis draws cheers from the administration, silence from Republicans, and alarm from critics. Some House Republican women are in open revolt against Speaker Mike Johnson. Huh. Top 10 African cities with highest purchasing power. So FBI, they arrested him. President Trump joins the leaders of Rwanda and Democratic Republic for signing a peace deal. Is it live? Let's go see if that's going on now. White House.
Is far from the headlines. But when I was asking President Trump to take up this task, our region is far from the headlines.
Kagame.
But when the president saw the opportunity to contribute to peace, he immediately took it. This conflict has lasted for 30 years.
Send them my news videos, not the refugee stuff.
Countless mediations and efforts, but none has succeeded in resolving the underlying issues. President Trump introduced a new and effective dynamism that created the space for breakthroughs. His approach is even-handed, never taking sides. He orients us toward the future, not the past, emphasizing that the dividend of peace is prosperity and investment, including from the United States. More importantly, President Trump's approach is pragmatic. The process has not become an end in itself. All of these elements filter down to his dedicated team, and here I want to single out Secretary Rubio and Masad Boulos for special appreciation. We would not be here today without their efforts. And as a result, we have the clearest and most viable path forward that we have ever had.
I forgot about that Figueroa clip. I did it a long time ago.
These accords provide everything needed to end this conflict once and for all. If this agreement falters and things do not work out as they are supposed to, the responsibility will not lie with President Trump, but with ourselves. It's up to us in Africa, working with our partners to consolidate and expand this peace. There will be ups and downs on the road ahead. There is no doubt about it. Rwanda,
yeah, food will get cold.
Will not be found wanting. I can assure you of that. Our only
Sending Lady
objective
Pandora to Tanzania. Okay.
is and has always been for our country to be safe and secure after having endured so much tragedy. We now only want to look forward in confident expectation of a prosperous and stable future. Mr. President, Excellencies, I thank you for your kind attention.
Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, man who should have left office 20 years ago. Does Trump speak now? Or do we have Delivering peace. Shishikedi here. It's his turn. I wonder if he speaks English or French. Trump pats him and says, good job to Kagame.
Mr. the President of the United States, Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, dear members of the delegations, distinguished guests, as we have just placed our signatures at the bottom of the joint declaration enshrining the Washington agreements for peace and prosperity, I do feel, on behalf of the people of Congo, a deep gratitude and clear hope. First of all, I would like to express quite solemnly our deep thanks to the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. I would like to thank his administration, and also wish to thank the American people for the critical role that they played for the rapprochement, the closening between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Republic of Rwanda. To these thanks, I also bring in all of our regional partners and our international partners who, thanks to their commitment and engagement, have consistently made this critical moment possible in the road to peace. First and foremost, we have Sheikh Yanim bin Ahmad Adani. We have President João Manuel Lourenço Gonçalves, who is the President of Angola and the acting President of the African Union. And we also have the former President of the Republic of Kenya, my brother, Uhuru Kenyatta, who I can see here in the room. These two great Africans who are at the beginning, who started the Rwanda and the Nairobi processes. Mm-hmm. And beyond them, I wish to thank also all of the African leaders who contributed to help us in this struggle. And I do hope that we have, yes, reached the end. The Washington agreements are not yet another document. These represent a turning point. They bring together under a coherent architecture a declaration of principles of a peace agreement.
Well, Karen, if people dismiss my commentary about refugees as disinformation, then I don't really care if they watch my program. If they're not objective enough to listen and evaluate for themselves and just believe the lies they hear, that's on them.
Cycle of violence, of forced displacements, of mistrust, defiance, in order to begin a new era of friendship, cooperation, and prosperity, all shared together. For those involved, the Democratic Republic of Congo takes this solemn commitment to implement with complete sincerity all of our obligations that stem from this agreement. We will do this with seriousness, with rigorousness, and also the constant care for peace and the security of our populations, for the unity and the integrity of our territory. We do hope that thanks with the same seriousness that the Republic of Rwanda will also respect fully the letter and the spirit of the commitments made here in Washington. We are reaching out for a peaceful cooperation based on mutual respect, non-interference, and the joint struggle against the armed groups, the end of all support to negative forces, and the beginning of fair prosperity on behalf of two populations. I do believe this day is the beginning of a new path. A demanding path, yes indeed, quite difficult, but this is a path where peace will not just be a wish and aspiration.
It was French, it's now English.
A turning point. The Democratic Republic of Congo will fully play its part with dignity, with consciousness and consistency and with the support of our partners.
Yes,
we
a great
will remain
interpreter.
watchful, vigilant, but not pessimistic. We'll be clear-eyed, but resolutely optimistic. These Washington agreements for peace and prosperity must be for our peoples a symbol of an irreversible commitment to turn the page of confrontations and to open a new era of cooperation and sustainable peace throughout the region. Thank you.
All right, hopefully Trump speaks now.
So, if I might, my 4 new friends, a couple of cases not that new. Could you come up, please? Do you mind? Please. They represent so many and so well, so I just want to thank you very much. Good.
Sr. Presidente Donald Trump, Presidente dos Estados Unidos da América, caros convidados, altas entidades aqui presentes, senhores jornalistas, eu gostaria de realçar a importância desta cerimônia aqui em Washington, D.C., que vai finalmente pôr fim a um conflito que, como já foi dito, dura mais de 3 décadas. Não são exatamente 30 anos, mais do que 3 décadas. Um conflito entre irmãos, países vizinhos e irmãos, que deviam se dar bem, mas que, por razões de diversa ordem, têm vindo a se degladiar ao longo dos anos, com pesadas consequências, quer para as populações de ambos os países, como também para as respectivas economias. A região dos Grandes Lagos é uma região das mais ricas do mundo, não apenas da África. É enormemente rica em recursos hídricos, terras aráveis, florestas, recursos minerais que estão no subsolo, mas, sobretudo, rico nas suas pessoas, com um potencial muito grande para desenvolver aquela região de África que pode catapultar o desenvolvimento de outras regiões igualmente do nosso continente. O mundo atravessa hoje uma crise energética e alimentar. Nós fomos a dizer que a África, e em particular essa região dos Grandes Lagos, tem o potencial, não digo de resolver, mas de contribuir consideravelmente para a resolução dessas 2 grandes crises, quer alimentar, quer a energética, não apenas para o nosso continente, mas para o mundo. A grande barragem do Inga, adormecida há bastantes anos,
Well, that's a cock-up. Who wants to listen to Portuguese? It is Portuguese, Charles.
Contribuir enormemente para a eletrificação do
Any of our
continente
Portuguese Afrikaners in the
e,
group?
consequentemente, para a sua
I understand most of it.
industrialização. Em termos de agricultura, o facto de ter terras aráveis, um índice de chuvas bastante regular e abundante, pode-se desenvolver agricultura naquelas regiões para alimentar o continente.
No, he doesn't.
E nada disso tem sido possível fazer-se ao longo de décadas, devido a este conflito que não tem sentido e que, finalmente e felizmente, parece que terá o seu fim hoje aqui em Washington, D.C. Nós procuramos fazer a nossa parte, e quando digo nós, estou-me a referir a Angola, ao Quênia e outros países também africanos.
No, Trump doesn't speak any other languages.
Para chegarmos a este momento. Infelizmente não foi possível, mas nós só temos que agradecer ao presidente Trump por ter dado continuidade ao trabalho que nós realizamos e ter conseguido
Yes, it is. Somebody just said in Afrikaans it's not, but it is Portuguese.
Do qual todos nós sairemos a ganhar. Tanto, mais uma vez, o presidente Trump fez a parte que lhe compete e nós esperamos e acreditamos que é o que vai acontecer, que as duas partes, ou seja, as autoridades da República Democrática do Congo e da República do Ruanda também farão a sua parte para a implementação com êxito
I speak French. That's what helps me in Italian.
acordo. Uma coisa é assinar um acordo, outra coisa que é mais difícil, mas é possível, desde que haja vontade política, é implementar em tempo útil tudo aquilo que nós acordamos e assinamos. Parabéns a todos. Muito obrigado.
Yep, he's done. Okay.
Your Excellency,
This is what
the
he
U.S.
said.
President, President Trump, dear guests, and dear dignitaries present here and press members. I would like to highlight the importance of this ceremony taking place in Washington, D.C.
It's an impressive job of this guy
has come
to
put
transcribe
an
it in
end
English.
to a war that has been there for more than 3 decades, because it's not just exactly 3 decades, but it's more than 30 years. And this is a conflict that has been there between two neighboring countries, which have been fighting for many years with consequences on the peoples, countries, economies, and so forth. And these consequences also were felt in the Great Lakes region, which is a very rich region in Africa, rich in terms of water resources, arable lands and forests, and as well as mineral resources, which are important for the development of our region. So it's important that we've reached to this point where the agreement is going to be, has been signed, a peace deal, which will benefit immensely the whole region and will unleash the opportunities for the development of our continent, and as well as to helping the whole world in terms of fighting against the food crisis and energy crisis which the whole world is going through now. We believe that the Great Lakes region will have to play a great role in providing resources to the international community. And of course, solving this conflict will also help solve other crises, not only in the continent as we know, but worldwide. For example, the Great Inga hydro project in Congo is important. It can help to electrify the continent and consequently help in terms of developing agriculture and providing agriculture, arable lands, and abundant resources that we have that can be used. We know that Africa possesses a lot of other resources, such as rainfalls, which are important for agriculture. So nothing has nothing would just justify this war, but eventually the most important thing that it has come to war. We sought as Africans to do our part. When I say Africans, I mentioned countries such as Angola, Kenya, and other African countries, but unfortunately we couldn't make it. But we now want to thank President Donald Trump for having helped to reach this important milestone. We believe, once again, we have to thank him for what he has done, and what comes next now is to appeal to the two parties, that is the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Republic of Rwanda, to implement successfully this agreement for the benefit of their countries, their people, and including our.
This is a good job transcribing it.
Thank you very much.
That was a very good job transcribing it as it went along. That was brilliant on his part. Can we have English this time?
Your Excellency, President Trump, fellow heads of state, today's signing of the Washington Peace Accord for Eastern DRC is not merely a monumental diplomatic milestone. It is a decisive act to end a devastating conflict that has scarred the region for decades.
Look at all these Africans working with
Mr.
Trump.
President, what you have achieved is not only transformative, it is consequential and historic.
Wow.
This conflict has destroyed livelihoods, destabilized our region, and threatened the future of the entire Great Lakes African continent. Today's achievement culminates a relentless regional effort anchored by the foundational work of the East African community and SADC, and today, this Washington process. The coordinated Nairobi, Luanda, and Washington process has created the essential pathway that brings us to this pivotal moment. We would like to extend our gratitude to President Tshisekedi and President Kagame for their leadership during this process. Reaching this point was made possible by the unparalleled consequential convening power of the United States and President Trump's resolute and focused commitment to global peace. Your clarity, Mr. President, of purpose and ability to rally stakeholders together has brought us to this point.
Yep.
We therefore extend our profound gratitude to President Trump, whose bold leadership has been instrumental in delivering this breakthrough. Our presence here, Mr. President, as regional leaders, is a testament of our collective resolve. We will spare no effort to ensure this agreement is fully realized, mobilizing every resource and partner to secure peace and unlock the region's immense economic promise. The protracted conflict on our continent continues to hold back Africa. Our current 3% share of global trade is stark evidence of how far this war has held us back. A peaceful Eastern DRC can unlock one of Africa's greatest economic opportunities. Our vast resources, the young talent that we have, connected through our regional infrastructure and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, can ignite an unprecedented transformation. A peaceful and integrated Great Lakes region will accelerate innovation, predictable government reduces risk, harmonized regulation lowers costs, and open borders increase trade, attracting value-added industries to our continent. For too long, Africa has exported raw materials only to import refined products at great cost. Our regional economic integration framework, Mr. President, that you have spoken to here, will build value chains in minerals, manufacturing, and agri-processing, creating jobs and creating wealth. The Great Lakes region stands at the threshold of a new era. Peace will open doors, integration will guide us, and private sector dynamism will propel us forward. In conclusion, as we celebrate progress in the DRC, we must not look away from other crises. I want to ask you respectfully, Mr. President, that in your quest for global peace, to support efforts to resolve the humanitarian catastrophe in Sudan.
Yep.
I thank you.
All right.
Excellence, le chef d'État et de gouvernement ici présent.
Heads of state and government, dear delegations, it is
I'd rather hear the
with
French.
great joy that I speak today before you in order to express my joy. There is a time for everything. There's a time for destruction, and there's a time to build. there's a time for despair, and there's a time for hope. Today, we are experiencing a great day. We are looking forward to this agreement, which will give back hope to the peoples of Congo and of the sub-region. I would like to congratulate everybody involved who made it this great day possible. We beg, we urge God to continue to guide us, to guide the steps of all people of goodwill who will become involved for its implementation. Committing oneself is something, but implementing is something else, which is why I call upon all of you, provide your contribution to actually implement this accord.
Thank you, Bertie. Clouds are gathering.
As far as we are concerned, this agreement on regional economic integration, well, Burundi and the DRC already represent an economic community of the countries of the Great Lakes region. Burundi has a major role to play in order to indeed implement these existing cooperation agreements between the three states. We hope that together we'll be able to achieve a long-lasting peace and stability throughout the region. Thank you very much.
Yeah, somehow I think that South Africa's living in another world. Where are the South Africa fools being bullied? Exactly right, Berto. Okay, here comes Trump finally.
Thank you very much. And I just want to introduce a friend of mine who I just noticed in the audience. He's in charge of a very small sport called here soccer, over there football. So nobody knows really what to call it. Johnny, thank you very much. The head of FIFA is here. And I can report to you that we have sold more tickets than any country anywhere in the world at this stage of the game. And I think we probably broke all records before you even get close. And you have a big event on Friday at the Trump Kennedy Center. Oh, excuse me, at the Kennedy Center. Pardon me, I such a terrible mistake, Marco. At the Kennedy Center, and I look forward to seeing you there. But I want to congratulate you. No, it's really taken the world by storm. You've never done anything like what's happening in terms of ticket sales. I make a lot of enemies telling people, I'm sorry, I can't get you tickets. I just can't do it. But congratulations, you've done a fantastic job. A great leader in sports and a great gentleman. Thank you very much, Johnny. And now we're going to sign a very important agreement. Thank you.
All right. Here we go, folks. I had to get a little plug in there for the FIFA World Cup in the USA. There's Kagame sitting next to him. Let me turn my camera off so you can see. I'll comment, continue. Tshisekedi, Kagame, and Trump all signed this agreement to end the conflict in the Congo. Oh my gosh. 30 years this war has been going on. I don't know that it'll hold, but wow. Whoops. Ooh, who's the blondie? Is that Monica Crowley? Yeah. They got to hand 2 copies of each one back each way, so I've got to sign it 3 times. Looks like Monica Crowley. Yeah, Nick, is the mullah watching Trump bringing prosperity to an African nation, to an African region, not just one nation? No, Flesh, and that's not the same head of Sepp Blatters is not the guy. This is someone else. FIFA's been taken over by someone else. Yeah, is Lamola watching true diplomacy in play? Trump, all I do is win, win, win. My hands go up, and they stay there. Book Kagame's already signed. He's waiting on the next one. Or did he? Yeah, he's double checking. Did I sign it? Yeah, I did sign it. Oh, my goodness. All right, so Kagame hands it over. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Don. Now I'll sign these two. Tshisekedi's already. Tshisekedi doesn't look too happy, man. He's got peace in our time. Sorry, that's Neville Chamberlain. What a moment. Yeah, whether it holds or not, what a moment. Now watch SABC complaining about Trump. SABC is more fake than CNN. I don't know about that, but yeah. The mullah is whistling and delivering mealies on his bicycle. No, Arctic doesn't drink wine. That is definitely the lady in red. Krista Berg's one hit. Oh, look at that, folks. Open it up. Open it up. Come on, Tshisekedi, open it up, man. Dude, open it. Open it up. Look to your side. Open it up. Now he opens it. Kagame's also tall.
Go ahead. I know you and you're very friendly, so I'll take it.
He said he'll talk to that press person. I know you're very friendly. We can't hear the question. Can't hear the question. Oh, yeah, we've seen a lot of history in this channel, haven't we? SpaceX, peace agreements, elections.
I think you're going to see very quickly, I think you're going to see things happen. This is something that was not doable, according to a lot of people, and not only is it doable, I think it's going to be a great miracle. These two gentlemen are leaders, they're great leaders, and they're going to prove that in the coming months and years. And I think you're going to see very immediate results. I have confidence that that's what's going to happen. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
So, peace in the Congo, folks. See if it holds. Donald Trump, Paul Kagame, and Felix Tshisekedi. All right, Trump likes Kagame. Look at that, patting him on the shoulder. Here's the photo op now.
That's a big deal. They like his people. Like him.
That's a big deal, he said. Tshisekedi's not short either. Look at him. He's tall.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
That's the U.S. Institute of Peace in D.C. That's going to end it right there. Wow, that was pretty wild, wasn't it? Anyway, folks, that was a bonus, wasn't it? Getting to see that. So, cool beans. I hope you found that interesting. Yeah, how long has that been on for? An hour. So, yeah. Yep, peace, 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 peace. Let me end the poll. We got almost 400 votes in the poll, and we're going to end it. And it looks like John Cena is the guy you guys think is going to go first, followed by Ramaphosa. I thought Lamola might be the guy, but I would have picked Lamola. But yeah, we'll see. Lamola is opening his mouth so often he might get fired in the next few weeks the way he's going. But Steenhuisen will be fired by his party if it's going to happen, but not until the spring. Although they ought to cut ties with him now, to be quite honest. Anyway, already complaining the peace won't last because M23 rebels weren't part of the deal. See, they're already complaining instead of hailing it. Good going, Mr. Trump. Lamola, that's who I say. Tall as trees. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're all very tall. Good things are happening. Hey, in America, good things are happening. But in South Africa, bad things are happening, Trump says. Yep. Yep. Anyway, so, yeah, folks. I put the link into that Truth Report earlier, which I haven't watched. That was my interview back in August for a series that Gareth put together for the Truth Report. I think that's the right one I put up there, hopefully. Make sure that's what it is. Yep, that's the one. So you guys can check that out. I'm going to check it out when I'm done here while I'm working. Anyway, yeah, what a moment, man. Yeah, and South Africa sent the SANDF there to secure mineral rights and bring diamonds and things like that back to South Africa. Yeah, they've been in the Congo for decades and they've accomplished nothing except selling South African uniforms, weapons, and running prostitution rings. They've accomplished nothing. Look how they fled from the M23 rebels a few months back. And they threatened Paul Kagame, and Paul Kagame has a real military. SADC pretended they accomplished something in the Cabo Delgado province, but the only thing accomplished positive there was accomplished by the RDF, the Rwandan Defense Force. They're the ones that made the difference there, not the SADC mission, which was overwhelming South African. Yep, nothing against the South Africans, but the Rwandans are the ones who made a difference. Yeah, no, Kagame's a dictator, needs to go from office, but he certainly has run a country very well. I'll give him that. And where are South Africa's ANC in ending the conflict in the Congo? They've fueled the conflict. Where are they in ending the conflict in Somalia? Nowhere. The U.S. is involved. But we're just imperialists. Shut up, Fikini Mabalula. You are the dumber than dumb can be. Congo has so much potential. Grandfather owned a crocodile farm. Wow, that's pretty wild. All right, so Barbie's out of here, okay? All right, we should all probably wrap up here shortly then, huh? Been at this 2.5 hours, huh? So proud as an American. We want peace. That made me almost as happy as when Trump crossed the DMZ with Kim Jong-un. Yeah, no, peace is how the world can prosper. Certainly not through conflict. So we need this Ukraine nonsense to end too. And Sudan needs to end as well. Alrighty, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for being with me today. Please go watch my other videos. I'm going to watch the Truth Report video. You can go watch that if you want to. Also, you can watch me on Biz News. Go watch me on Biz News. That one's trending. I've got double the Steenhuisen views on that one, so that's pretty impressive. So, yeah. All right, guys, thanks a lot. And thank you for being here. And don't forget, you can also join the Truth Report. Just go over and subscribe. You'll find lots of content creators, including myself. I'm an anchor over there. Alrighty? All right, guys. Thank you all very much. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. And I do appreciate it. You guys take care. So, ciao. Thanks for the super chats, by the way. Wow, they did pretty well. Thank you all for that. You're short and Lamola only popped up now. Yeah, 2 hours ago. Yep. Thank you. That was historic. It was pretty cool. You guys take care. Bye-bye.